Hi there, it's Sandra here from createinspain. I finally succumbed and bought a set of alcohol inks. Now the reason I did it is to see if the colours are stronger than I was able to make myself with my remnants of ink pens, but also because the nozzles on this sort of ink bottle are finer, and the ones that I have, the eyedropper ones, just let out too much ink at a time. So this set was from Amazon. I think it was €20.99, set of 24, and there's a good range of colours in here. I've also got some little pins. That's what it's for. I just got myself a pin like that because the bottles don't have a pierced hole already. I did make the mistake of using a pin and I had not put gloves on. Not a sensible idea. So I still got a couple of blue fingers. Not as blue as they were when I first did it because I've just had a shower. But yeah, still blue. So this hopefully will do it without creating a lot of mess. You still get some ink splatter. The other thing is, I would imagine with this, is there is a trace of that ink left in there, and if I do it with another bottle it might actually colour the ink inside slightly differently. Okay, so I have opened all of these with the exception of this one, which is a sinking white. Now because I'm not using it for resin, at least I don't think I will be, because I use UV resin rather than epoxy. So I'm not going to bother to open that one for the time being. There is an alternative white, which is deeper white. That one I have opened because having a white mixer might be handy. Now, as you can see, wearing gloves is a good idea. I did find one thing that I did which definitely helped with the lack of mess, was when I'd removed the cap here before I opened it, I just flicked it like that. I'm not going to do it because that bottle's open, and that kind of emptied out the nozzle part a little bit. So you still got some seepage when you took the pin out, but not as much as you would if you didn't do that, because the majority of the ink just fell back into the bottle. So I've got a good sample of colour on my fingers already, thankfully, as I said, in gloves. They look quite nice colours, and I shall look forward to playing with these. And I thought I'd show you a couple of other things that you might not have considered actually inking. This is book binding cover plastic. This happens to be a frosted one, but you could use a normal transparent one. But I really like the effect on that. I think that's quite useful. And if you were making items for storage or for gift boxes or things like that from it, it would make it really, really special. And here I have foiled some card, and I have then added the alcohol inks. Now when I say foiled the card, this is actually kitchen foil. Nothing too expensive, just standard kitchen foil. And I used a little bit of tack it over and over to make it stick to the card itself. I swiped it on, so you don't need much glue on it at all. Make sure you don't have it too near the edges, because what I then did with it is I put a stencil over the top and I embossed it using my Gemini. And then I put the inks over the top, and I really love that. I think that's great fun. Now, a couple of other things that you may not have thought of is that you can actually ink vinyl. Now, this is just some cheap white vinyl, and it's not even dry yet, as you can see. It's that recent. But again, you can put it on vinyl and it will stay there. This is done on a basic pink vinyl. Now this gives you lots of different options without using too much ink, because if you've got vinyls that are in different colours like I have, you know, the world is your oyster. You can do lots of different things. The deeper white. This is a very, very good opaque white. You need to use this with caution. It is very, very opaque, and that is a really, really good white ink. So if you are looking for something that's going to give you a good white. That, I think, will do the job quite nicely. So there we go. That's what I think of these. I'm going to be using them for various things, I'm sure. And great fun to play with. I can waste hours doing this kind of stuff. Now, the other thing that you might want if you're going to do some inking is either a hand puffer. I think there are several brands that you can use for those. I will try and link some down below. Or possibly if you have one already, you might want to use an airbrush. So you can literally put air out through the brush and just move your paint around. Now the one thing that I would say is that the brush that came with this one was a single action one. It's a very cheapy kit and it's a single action brush, which means that as soon as you press the on button, air is coming out. This one, although a cheap airbrush, and it literally just pops onto the rubber cord here, although it is a cheap one, it's a dual action airbrush, and you can get these for about 15 quid. And what that means is that when you press down on here, you get air out. When you pull back and press, you get air and paint normally. However, if you're just using it for air, you have the ability to switch the air on and off. It won't flow out through the front automatically. And that's useful if you want to push a particular area of paint around. It's very difficult to do with a single action one because you don't have the control. So you notice I've got 5 rows of 5, 25, and I've only got 24 inks. If, like me here, you have quite a large piece of a self-adhesive material, and this is a self-adhesive foam, and you want to place it directly on top of another piece without messing up, then I suggest what you do is you put a piece of baking parchment or your backing paper underneath it, so you've only got a small amount exposed. And then you can line it up and press that down, remove the backing paper and gradually do the rest. Yep, that looks fine. I've now put a third layer of foam on. Now the ink bottles measure approximately 2 centimetres. I made these holes 2.1 just to give a little bit of wriggle room. So now you have a choice. I've done this in a pretty revolting looking green card because it is my least favourite card colour. What I'm going to do is to cut out the same basic design in a piece of vinyl. So glue my tab, glue that on the inside, and then of course that will hold it in place while it dries as well. This makes it so much easier. If you can find a box the right size, then maybe you just want to use the inside template and build up some foam layers so that you can actually hold your bottles upright. But if you want the entire lot, the file for all of it will be linked down below as normal. Thanks for watching. Take care now.